We are here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. Love Bay family, we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Our topic on tonight is Magnify Your Essence. Our co host is Erin Mitchell, and our guest for the evening is Carolyn Wilson. Listeners, if you have any questions or comments for our guest or co host, you can email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. If you have resources that you would like to share with us on a local or national level from your country, your community, any local organizations, you can also email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. And that also includes your faith community. With that, I want to give Erin a moment to reintroduce herself to you listeners because Erin has been with us before.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening and tuning in all over many countries out there. So good to be with you all. And again, here with Minister Tia and her fabulous guest, Carolyn Wilson. So excited to be here with these powerful women that are they're walking stories of rising. And that inspires me every day. And yes, I was on the show Suffering in Silence last year, uh, based on my work that I do with Indigenous women in North America, teaching. I don't teach it, but I arranged a program for empowerment and self-defense for women that are facing high rates of violence. So that is how I got connected to Minister Tia and Suffering in Silence. And I got connected to her story through reading her book. And I cannot wait to read Carolyn's many books, but I'm going to ask her which one I should read first. Um, I'm just such a honor to be here with both of you and all of your listeners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Okay, listeners. So normally I always let our co-hosts and our guests introduce themselves. But on tonight, I would like very much to read Carolyn's bio before she says hello to you all. And I have just been excited just to do this. I get exhilarated just reading her bio. So Carolyn Wilson is the fearless, magnified educator, a multi award winning filmmaker, 6-time best selling author, international motivational speaker, certified life and business coach, master resilience trainer, transformational health and wellness lifestyle expert, featured on ABC, CBS, Dr. Oz, Huffington Post, and Woman's World magazine. She has graced both physical and virtual stages with powerhouses such as Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Dr. Cheryl Wood, George Fraser, Forbes Riley, and Brooke Burke. A survivor of sexual child abuse and domestic violence turned advocate, intentionally created a transformative healing journey, creating a new life narrative. Her sole mission is to educate women globally how to overcome fear, live their life fearlessly, especially after trauma and abuse, by aligning to heal the total mind, body, and soul for their divine purpose. Carolyn is the CEO and creator of MYE Institute, Magnify Your Essence, celebrating you, Women's Conference and Expo, Beacons Light Retreat, writer, director, and producer of The Good Life, author of Magnified Thoughts, and visionary of Her Story, Healed, Empowered, Resilient, Him Story, Honorable, Intelligent, Matured, an upcoming book, Her Story Too, Together Overcoming Obstacles. She holds an MBA from Philadelphia University with over 30 years corporate, nonprofit, and government experience in leadership, training, and development. She resides in Philadelphia with her daughter and loves the arts, travel, and nature. I just feel like with that we could just drop the mic and go home. Just with that right there. I was so excited to read that and share that. And Carolyn, I do want to give you a moment, to say hello and greet our listeners, but I just believe that this right here was worth taking the time to share.
Thank you. Thank you. I know. I was like, which bio did I send her?
You sent the good one. This was the good one.
Because there's so many different versions of
Yes,
it,
yes,
right?
I know.
So I was like, oh, she got that one. I was like, oh wow, yeah. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you at in the world. Hello, how are you? And Minister Tia, thank you so much for welcoming me to your platform and having me on as your guest. And Aaron, it's a pleasure to meet you and to be in the same space as the co-host. And thank you both for serving our community at large, right, around the world. So I'm just honored just even be here. So that's first and foremost. Outside of my creator, who just gives me breath every day, every moment, every second, to just allow me to do the things that he allows me to do.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, so before we move into our topic, magnify your essence, I always start with sharing some resources. So on tonight, I want to share from Kenya, Africa, Coalition on Violence Against Women. Their website is covaw.or.ke. In Malawi, Africa, we have Center for Alternatives for Victimized Women and Children. Their website is cavoc.org. Their phone number is 265-052-39-876. In Mauritius, Africa, we have SOS Women, and their website is sosfemmes.intnet.mu. And with that, we move into our topic on this evening, magnify your essence. So, Carol, I just want to give the floor to you. If you would just start with telling us your story and how did you magnify your essence? Because clearly you did.
And listen, and some, and some,
And some.
and some, and some. Well, man, like where to start? Exactly, I know exactly where to start. There's no coincidence or happenstance or things like, wow, that's so ironic. Nah, that's not the case. I look at everything as a divine order. Everything that occurs is part of the alignment. Everything has to be aligned in order to put you on your divine assignment. I believe we all have a divine assignment. So it's the timing for us to do this right now is on this way deeper than what you even know. But this is April is Sexual Assault and Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Yes.
I'm gonna repeat. April is Sexual Abuse and Child Abuse Awareness Month. I am a survivor of that. That's my base. That's my foundation, one may say, right? The foundation that has opened up other things that occur in my life, even though you heard the things on my bio. And the thing is, it's not necessarily to leave upon an impression on someone, but it's really to show you, like you said, it is creating a new narrative. Like those are the things that have occurred and happened to me. They do not define me. A lot of times when we have domestic violence, that I had that happen as well, because once again, the sexual child abuse laid the foundation for other things to come and attach and attract to me. Domestic violence, bouts with homelessness, being a single parent, having children out of wedlock, having multiple, different fathers who are my children, all the taboo stuff, failed out of school, like all these things that life would throw at you because of the foundation that was set. That happened. See, but when you allow that to really take root in your life, then you just learn to accept, what the world will give you.
Mhm.
And that's the stress, because it's like, oh well, you're damaged, you're abused, you don't have, you don't have worth, put it that way, right? So then
Yes.
you start to believe it. Then you start to believe that you're worthless. You start to believe you don't have value. You start to not think that you can accomplish certain things because of your statue, because of, like, one of my favorite films. All right, I'm gonna let y'all know I'm an adult Disney kid. I didn't know I really was. I finally admitted that I am, because I just found out that the Disney land in California has a Tiana's place, and I'm going to Tiana's place. Yes. So I love Princess and the Frog. We can just say that. I love Princess and the Frog. And there's one part in there where Tiana is, she's trying to, save her money up to get this restaurant called Tiana's Place that she and her dad talked about when she was a kid, but then her dad died. So she just had this drive, and she got the money together, and then she went to the bankers, and they's like, well, Tiana, for the woman of your statue, like, he was already typecast. Like, you're from this neighborhood. Oh, you're a waitress. You have this. Like, whatever box you're placed in, then everything that goes in that box, that's you, right?
Mhm.
It's supposed to be you because it goes inside that box. Oh, no. That's what everyone else wants to put you in the box. But then we stay in that box when we don't have to. It's also there's something I've learned, that with a baby elephant, they train them, they tether them up to the fence, to the chain. So they learn that they can only walk with so far. So, or they're going to get shocked, or the chain is going to hurt them or something. They just know they can only go but so far. So after a while, now the chain comes off. So your relationship is over. You're no longer in a domestic violence relationship. Oh, you're no longer being abused. Oh, you now have a home. You're no longer homeless. Or you have a job. You're no longer jobless. But you're still tethered imaginarily in your mind. I just made up a word. So there we go.
Disney. We're gonna go with it. Disney.
You in your mind, you're still tied to that circumstance, although you're free. So
Yes.
even when their little elephant is no longer tethered and free, and they have free roam to go, they will only stay in that perimeter. They will no longer go beyond what they believed and knew that their capabilities were, because that's what they were accustomed to. That's what happens to us when we go through trauma. That's
Yes.
what happens to us when we've had things happen to us in our life. Like, well, this is it, and this is all I'm ever going to be, and this is all it's going to ever be. Says who? Says you. But you should be telling yourself something different.
Yes.
So for me, when it comes to saying magnify your essence, there was something in me that, even though I had that tethering, and although I was released from the things I was tethered to, I was still kind of operating slightly as if I was still tethered. But I knew it didn't, something was wrong, something was off.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, something has to give. But I couldn't figure out what it was. So here's the thing. You ever say, be careful what you ask for. I think that's like it and some. And when you get it, like you just said, you're about to have a nice delivery tomorrow. You disclose that. You're going to have a wonderful delivery tomorrow.
Well, yes, I could. Well, wait, I've told Love Bay. Okay, so Love Bay, let me tell you, my birthday is May 28th. I got my Camaro, y'all. It's coming tomorrow. My early birthday gift. I told y'all. Now I just got to get the windows tinted.
Yes, awesome. See, that's her story to tell, not mine. That's the other thing. That's the other nugget. It's not your place to tell somebody else's story. You tell your own. So no one else tells it for you, because they can't tell your story like you can, because you are your story. So back to just not, knowing, it's like something has to give. And once you realize and say, okay, God for me is God, the universe for someone else, whatever entity that you believe in that's a higher power, that's for good. that'll allow you to guide and direct the things that you're doing in life will give it to you when you least expect it. Here's your prayers, here's your answer. Ask and you shall receive. Oh, you want to know what's going on in your life, you want it fixed, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. But it may not come with a nice little pretty bow like your delivery gonna have. It ain't gonna have that. It's gonna come and it's gonna be like, remember like back in the day, like at least my mom did, she boiled the Brussels sprouts. You don't boil those things, you gotta grill them, right? They're mushy, they're nasty. I'm sorry, you never call food nasty, but Brussels sprouts boiled, no. In this household, we grill them. So anyway, so it's like getting something that you're like, I don't want that. Like, that's not appeasing to me. Like, I thought this was going to be fun. I thought I was going to like it. I thought this was going to serve me. And it's like, no, it is. It's exactly what you need. You ask for something, and here it is. You have it. And now you need to devour it and figure it out. So I'm like, okay. So for me, it was trying to figure out what my life was, and then God placed at my door, literally right to me, to readdress my past that I've been trying to seek and figure out the answers to on my own. But then when I let it go, it came to me, and it came to me in a way that I did not want, but I had to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to deal with it in a way that it allowed me to put myself in front of my situation by being of service to someone else. Now you're probably saying, what? What do you mean by that? Let me explain. So I told you that I was a survivor of sexual child abuse, but I never told you who my abuser was. And I never told you the duration or the time frame that it occurred. So for me, it occurred from a young child, as young as, and I will believe that I was an infant, because your body remembers things that your mind does not. So an infant until my teenage years. So basically my whole formative years of my life, growing up with this experience from the person supposed to teach me how to be me. And this was my father. This was my biological father, who was my abuser. So that's, like I said, that was where that foundation came in at. Now, I had already processed it and said, okay, I was abused, and just left it at that. Well, it's funny. I would say molested, that I was hurt. I was molested. It's just now we're starting to come to terms that it's actually a sexual abuse. So yes, those are the terms. It's the same thing. It had the domestic violence stuff, dealt with that. So I thought. See, but all that did, each one of those traumas prepared me for the next. And it prepared me for what was to come back to me. And what came back to me was the father that you were seeking, that you wanted answers from, or you wanted to know where he was, and you just had this yearning and you didn't know why. You wanted to kind of figure this stuff out and readdress these things. I had to readdress it in the terms of my father came back into the picture because he was molesting another child, and I found out about it. And that child happened to be my little sister that I didn't know that I had. So that, like, I saw the quietness, like, and I felt the quietness. I felt the drop in your stomach. I felt it, right? Because that's heavy and it's deep. For me, it turned my world inside out. It turned it. I was on the fury. So you didn't want to be on my path at that moment. I had all these emotions for all of these years, just came and rushed apart. But in that moment, I knew that it was something that I needed to address and I needed to handle and do by any means necessary, even if that meant it was going to put further damage and pain and hurt on myself. And what that was to now step into the mix, come forward again, and allow myself to be the vessel to save my sister so that way it would no longer happen to her. So right now, my father is serving, or our father is serving a 20-year sentence in prison because I came out of the shadows. I was bold enough to tell my story. So now that not only she can be saved and be healed, that so can I. It's ironic. I did this for her, but it helped me in the
It
process.
helps you.
It
Yes.
helped me in the process. So that's kind of the beginning. That's how it really started. And then as we led into, like I said, how magnifying your essence, because it really, like I said, I started off with, okay, I had these questions. What about me? Something with my life is just off. I had all these accolades before, like the stuff that's at the latter part of my bio. That was my claim to fame, like serving on boards. I don't even think that's in that bio, like serving on boards and doing all the stuff in the business world and achieving my degrees and that was my claim to fame. But I didn't feel like I matched my accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
I still felt like that broken little girl, although I was in the boardroom. I still felt like that little girl who didn't know who she was. Although I was making decisions for, things with laws and things and helping to change laws in the city of Philadelphia. And at the same token, I felt like I was still the young girl pregnant that was in line to get welfare. Like there was just a disconnect. There was just a disconnect in everything in my life. So I was on this project me. And so that was my present that I received. And God said, okay, so this is your present. Open the bow. So what you gonna do with it? And that's what I did with it. So Magnify Your Essence basically was birthed out of that because I was working on me and I had to find a way to because I said it's me, M-E. So magnify, because you probably figure my books, I like acronyms. So M is to magnify, which is to increase and to enlarge. And then essence is the core, who you are at your core. And how do you identify yourself? Not based on what has happened to you and occurred to you. You get to now, Carolyn, you get to create and rewrite your own narrative. Get that eraser out, get that erase board, wash it off, and now let's rewrite your story. Let's rewrite who you truly, amazing, who you are amazingly to your core. Made up another word again, but we're gonna rock with that. just do it, right? So that's really where Magnify Your Essence come from, because you're really getting to the core of who you are and not what other people have made you. So I'm gonna repeat that again. Magnify Your Essence is about identifying who you are, whose you are, and not what other people have made you or have identified you as or have put the box that they put you in. No, those things happened to me because they had to happen through me in order to fully exalt me. Period.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And as you were sharing, I think you began to answer the first question that I wanted to ask you. So our ministries, you and our ministries, our advocacy efforts are at different points in the healing process for individuals. Right. So it's like my ministry is at the beginning when the person makes that decision to deal with their situation, whether it recently happened or it was something that happened some time ago. They're in my space when they're ready to begin the healing process and start working through the issues. After some work, then these same individuals would be ready for the next phase of their healing journey, which would be your ministry and your advocacy. So as you coach individuals on how to magnify their essence, can you tell or explain to the listeners how being honest with yourself is the first step? Because I encounter individuals to this day who want to bury the past. They want to ignore specific events and pretend it didn't happen. But that's a setup for failure. The very first step is to be honest. And so you've already, kind of alluded and touched on that. But can you delve into that a bit more? Because we can't be like ostriches and put our heads in the sand.
Yeah, nah, yeah. Hi, my name is Carolyn, and I used to be an ostrich. Okay, so I was hiding everything, right? Because here's the thing, I became an overachiever. Most people with trauma are overachievers. I told you I achieved 3 degrees. My son went to the top university in the flipping world, right? So overachiever. I was on a board. I was serving on several boards. Ironically, helping women that were in domestic violence relationships while I was in the middle of one. Go figure. So hey,
I did the same
go,
thing.
go figure. Go figure. Go figure. Right. So no, you have to be truly, truly, truly authentic with yourself. It is what it is. Like that's a saying, it's a euphemism, but it's so true. Right? It's not necessarily debunking it and saying, well, I don't care. See, it's the energy you put into it. So
Mhm.
it's really about being true with yourself. Like, yes, this has happened. This has caused and allowed me to have some mistakes in my life. It allowed me to have some successes in my life. It allowed me to have some depression in my life. It allowed me to, hey, allow me to have some, let's see, let's do cause and effect. Okay, here we go. So when you bury stuff down in the bayou, down in the panhandle, they don't have an underground, right?
Mhm.
They got to bury everything on top because there's nothing underneath. Let's go back to Katrina some years back when they had a flood. Matter of fact, we ain't even gotta go years back. We Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale just had a big old flood. Everything that's buried, everything that's on the surface level
Mhm.
will get washed away. It will get flooded, no matter how you slice it or dice it. You're going to have, it's like you're going to have to sink or you're going to have to swim. It's going to come up. It's going to surface. It's going to surface. It's going to surface. So then when it surfaces, what do you do? How do you handle it? You handle it by handling it. You deal with it. It's one thing I've learned in this process because it's a process. Healing is a process. Healing is an ongoing process. Healing is like peeling. I just made that up right now.
Just
Peeling,
like peeling back the layers of an onion. Yeah.
yeah. Healing is peeling. Like you really are. Each one of those layers are are, are going to make you cry. They're going to sting. They're going to burn. They're not going to smell. They're going to hit all your senses. You ever get, cut the onion and goes right up your nose like, whoa, it's not going to feel good. But the more you work with it, eventually you get used to it. Then you figure out what to do with it. Now there's a use for that onion that you just chopped up and cut up and peel back to the core of it or wherever you're at with it. And now you have a use for it.
Mm.
Just like your life. You have
Yeah.
a use for it. And so now you get to slice it and dice it and saute it however you want it to be served, right? And so now here it is. Your life, you become your own menu. You become your own buffet, your own smorgasbord with all of your life experiences. Because that's what they are, they're experiences. And so now when you do that, it allows you to now see things in a different realm and perspective of my life may have looked this way on one aspect, but once I peel back some things, now it reveals this. Oh, and now I dealt with that. Okay, now there's something else. Okay, now
Mhm.
I'm prepared to deal with that because I got rid of the first layer to help me with the second layer and the third layer and the fourth layer, and that's all part of healing. Healing is peeling back those layers where you can be transparent. It's ironic that onions are translucent. Like this stuff is just dumping into me right now. I've never even put that together. Onions are translucent. So that means you have to be transparent.
Mm.
And so with an onion, since we're gonna just rock with onions right now, I don't even like onions, y'all. They gotta be fried. Anyway, so with that, being transparent is just one part. And I give people credit for getting to that level, because that takes an ounce of authenticity, right? To get to be transparent, to finally say, I was abused, or it was this, or this happened to me, or whatever you fill in the narrative or the blank. It doesn't have to look like my trauma, but just know that you got some trauma, because nobody is trauma-less. Nobody, nobody. You can fake it all you want. You can bury it all you want. Like Katrina is gonna wash up. It's gonna be floating down the road right beside you, and you're gonna be right there on your face. Like, okay, remember me? So, you're literally going to be able to. I got what that thought boomerang back, because I don't know where I was talking about onions. I don't know why.
Translucent, transparent.
Transparency. But I've learned that it's really your real true healing. Your real true healing is when you become vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you become vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you are open. You are naked.
Mm-hmm.
You are there for the world to see. You are there to be that beacon. You are there to really share the most inner part of your soul. And that's what needs to be released, because
Yes.
all of this other stuff is just covering up. The things that happen to you is not yours to carry. It belongs to them. They weren't able to handle it, so they gave it to you. They transferred it to you. Energy is real. Their energy, their inability to handle your capability is really their problem, not yours. But they turned it into your problem, and you carry it for them. You carry, and then they go about their business like la 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 la, and then you're left like, why am I feeling drained? Why am I feeling so useless? Why am I feeling like this? Because sister girl, brother, it ain't yours. It's not yours, and I'm gonna say ain't, because it's not. Is when you learn to release it and let it go and be completely vulnerable and allow your soul to reveal things, or you just kind of let go and your soul will reveal what needs to come out. That's probably what you was able to read in her story and him story, that I was to get them to, okay, now this is your next level, like just release. And now you can be truly authentic. See, we always talk about being your authentic self. If you're not vulnerable, you're not authentic.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You might be transparent and I can tell you, but if there's no feeling behind it, then it don't mean nothing. Just like an onion with no taste. That's all it is. You just cut a tasteless onion when there's no vulnerability in it. That's the flavor. I must be hungry, y'all. I'm just saying.
Well, I think that was a beautiful example. So, Leslie, I want to share with you one of Carolyn's events coming up. And then, Erin, I'll go to you for a question or comment. So, April is Sexual Assault Child Abuse Awareness Month. So, on April 23rd, Carolyn is actually going to be at the Marriott in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at 3 p.m. Sunday for 4/23, April 23rd. So if you are available, you can come out and you can hear Carolyn speak. She will be our keynote speaker. We'll be with Top Ministries, the Suffering in Silence Outreach Ministry of Top Ministries. We're doing this event, and Carolyn is our keynote speaker. So again, at the Marriott, Philadelphia Marriott on City Line Avenue, 4100 Presidential Boulevard. April 23rd at 3 p.m. I encourage you to come out if you are available. And with that, Carolyn, also, where are your books available?
They're on Amazon. Another way to, if you see where my name is at, I just put my link tree there. If you go to my link tree, you will see her story, him story, Magnify Thoughts, my film, The Good Life, everything, all in one spot.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Erin, do you have a question or comment for Carolyn?
Yeah, I'll try to be brief here because I have so many thoughts and comments and questions. I really loved seeing her story next to him story, Carolyn. because a lot of the women that I worked with in the indigenous communities, that was, as soon as they had a chance to be vulnerable, they were immediately asking about, what about the men? How can we help the men? What can we do to bring them into this conversation? So that inclusivity of healing, from the masculine and the feminine and everything in between. I really appreciate that balance coming from you and your work, and I can't wait to dive into it more. Healing is peeling. Thank you. That's a hashtag. You need to claim that for real.
Got it.
The show, and make that part of what you bring and how you communicate. It's awesome. And I think my question is, I'm really interested in the place where you're being transparent, and then how do you take that transparency of your truth, where you were victimized, or where say I am victimized or I was victimized, and make it that you're not a victim, like coming into your power. So like, you were a victim, you were victimized, but where's that point where the story is not just recycling through the parts that damaged you, that did victimize you? Where's that breakthrough into the rise from below to above?
Right. Very good. Thank you, Erin. That's an excellent question. It's really, you have to want it. Like you have to seek it, to the point of just stating it. And when I say seek it, just because it's something that you want, and allow everything else to just come energetically to you to support you in the things that you are seeking, right? So because I opened myself up to this episode, that I had a choice, mind you, I had a choice. I had a choice to make the change. Anyone else would have been like, okay, you know what, I'm good. I have, I'm grown. We're talking about like 30 something years later, right? This resurfaces. And I've already just told you, I already had my career. I already was doing, in this, in the world, I had all these accolades, but it just didn't feel right to me. But on the outside, I could have just said, I buried that. I don't want to deal with that any longer. That's not my problem. They got to deal with that. That could have been a choice of mine. And guess what? Unfortunately, that's a choice for a lot of people, because how many family members then find out about another family member that has been abused, chose to, well, it happened to me, so now you got to feel how I felt. That happens, right? So it's a choice to make a conscious change in your life. So that's the difference. You have to make a choice that you want to be different. You want your life to look different than what it was. Because here's the thing, let's face the facts. Like, if you didn't like the past, let's just say you're in an abusive relationship and you didn't really like the last 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. I'm gonna keep going, right? 20 years of your life, of how you were treated and how you felt. And so when you had a moment and someone asked you, okay, so if right now I'm gonna give you the option to change your life, to turn that all around, or you can continue to get another 20 years of what you just experienced. Most people will say, okay, I want door A. But the reality is, most people won't pick it because they're afraid. They're afraid of what's new. They're afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of, I was one of them too. I said, well, listen, he's not the best, but at least I know what I got. Really? That's what I was settling for? At least I know what I got. So I wasn't valuing myself, because I got exactly what I got because I knew what I got. And then here's the thing. The damage was so done. It was done to the point where even when he was born, I still carried it for 15 years. That's what we do to ourselves. So the answer to your question is you have to get that point of you're ready. You're ready, like you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So you may not know what the answer is, but you're ready for it. So when it comes, you recognize it. And then you move forward. You make that choice to make a change, even when it's scary, even when it's unknown. It's called having a now faith. So I can give you an example for myself. When I was in that space, because I'm open, I'm ready. I saw it. Oh, dun, dun, dun. I went to counseling. You went to counseling? I did. I went to counseling. Not only did I go to counseling, but dun, 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 I went to group counseling. Yes, I found other individuals. I found my tribe. I found other adults who was molested. Process going on. So because their trauma matched my trauma, so therefore I can learn from them. They can learn from me. And I'm vulnerable. I'm in this space. I don't know how to operate in this space. So maybe you can help, right? So I went to they were so excited I was there, and I'm like, okay, that's what I needed at the time because I'm in this space. I don't know how to decipher this stuff. And so they had a retreat. Okay, for the survivors. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this retreat and I'm going to learn some things. And I'm going to be quite honest. I wasn't ready for everything. I wasn't ready. Like I wasn't ready for the shadow work. I was like, that's crazy. I wasn't ready for the inner child work. I'm like, why they running around like a little 5-year-old? Like I wasn't ready at the time, but I do understand it now, right? It's layers. It's those layers, right? Got to peel it back. But one of the ones that I went to, one of the workshops I went to was it was titled Spirituality. I said, okay, I can go to that one. And I went there and I'm like, what is she talking about? It really, in my spirit, it just didn't sit right because the question was, in a perfect world, my higher power would say what about me? So I sat there and I had trouble with that question. In a perfect world, so what would my higher power say about me? So therefore, I know we're not all perfect, but I know I'm not totally a mess either, right? So am I going to admit that I'm not okay? My higher power is going to say something bad about me? I don't believe that. So it was kind of like it was feeding me to stay suppressed, to stay depressed, to stay in the space of worthlessness. I picked up on that and I had an issue with that. So now here comes the next layer. We talk about peeling, right? So then it's okay, you know what? What immediately came to mind was Jeremiah 29:11. For God says, I have the plans for you to harm you. I don't know the scripture, so just bear with me. You know what I'm talking about, right? Not the
future in a hope. Yes.
I just know what it is, right? To for not to harm you, to hope in the future and hope, right? I knew that much. So I start writing that down. And as I start writing it down, then I had a problem with that. Because I'm like, wait a minute. With the frown eyes and everything. I was like, wait a minute. You said not to harm me. What you mean? I was harmed. I was abused. That's being harmed. What do you mean? And then I zoned in on to give you hope and a future. And I went, well, wait a minute. Now here's the perspective. I was like, okay, I'm actually here to write this. Right? I'm not in an insane asylum. I didn't kill myself because, a lot of people chose that route, right? I said, so then, you know what? You didn't harm me. You did protect me. Different perspective. You are giving me hope. You are giving me a future. So therefore, my higher power in my perfect world, my higher power is telling me that I am an amazing individual. I am worthy. I am amazing. I turned that whole thing around because I am. Ironically, those are the scriptures all this week, all the I am series. If you follow one of the you version, the I am, right? I am amazing. I am fearless. I am all of these things. I'm like, because my higher power, who is my God, tells me these things about me because of Jeremiah 29:11. And so then when we had to go around the room to now disclose and share what we wrote, I can tell you, everyone talked about, yeah, well, my life, if it was perfect, I guess, I don't know, and then it got to me, and I just turned that whole, like I flipped the book. I said, I don't really agree with that, and I told them why. And then all of a sudden, it was like a shift in the room, in the atmosphere. I was like, oh no, and it. I don't. The teacher didn't like that. She was like, how you do this? Because this is not. If we're supposed to be here to heal, why are you keeping me in this space? You're not medically medicating me, but you're trauma-based medicating me, right? To keep me in this space of continuous, and unfortunately, here's the thing. One of the things I learned. I'm not going. Groups, um, programs are amazing because you need them for when you need them. But then there's a next. Take what you need and leave the rest. See, but people don't pay attention to that step. They take everything and they don't leave it. They stay there.
Yeah.
They stay there. And years later, they stay there. Because they never made that choice to change. So that point comes when they make the decision. It's an individual decision. When you're tired of what your life looked like, when you're tired of what your life felt like, and when there's something and gravitating toward you that's telling you there's more, trust it and listen to it because there is. And once you open up that door, it's like your yes and your no's. No, if you have a decision tree, if you say no to things, that's where things stop. Your no's get you nowhere, literally. But when you say yes, it opens up the door for another choice. And if you say yes, it opens up the door to something else. So that's the choices that you have to make. And that's how you can continue to be transparent. And the vulnerability, that's at that moment when you're open to the yes, when you're open to a different perspective, when you're open to the change in your life, because you don't want to experience the next 20 years of what you just experienced.
Right.
That is when you make that choice. You have to make that choice. The individual has to make their choice. Take what you need and leave the rest. The other stuff, it doesn't even serve you any longer. It no longer serves you.
Thank you so much. Well, Love Bay, I want to welcome you again to Suffering in Silence with Minister Tia on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern with a replay on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern, also Thursdays and Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay, we want you to remember that we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. I want to share a few more resources with you. We have Mayette Africa Association for the Status of Women and Victim Assistance. Their hotline number is 0269 612949. In Nigeria, Africa, we have Project Alert on violence against women. Their website is projectalertnig.org. In Rwanda, Africa, we have Rwanda Women's Network. Their website is rwandawomennetwork.org. And Aaron, I just wanted to add to that. And again, and I think it was a beautiful question also, but I think another point of when you become the victor, when you step from victim to survivor, when that shift happens, I believe it happens when you begin to concentrate on you and not the abuser or the perpetrator and not what was done to you. So a huge part of my ministry and the first steps is getting the individual to focus on themselves, to see that you are not what happened to you. And also a huge part is you can be angry, absolutely be angry, but you don't want that anger to overtake you. there are so many people who are they're stuck in a vengeful state right now. Their mind is like, I want to see him in jail. I want to see her in jail. I want to see them under the bus. I want to see them hurt. And they're still in that stage of putting their energy and their emotion into that person. And it takes so much to be angry. It takes so much to hurt and to hate and to hold on to it, to where every time you open your mouth, that's your conversation. Not thinking about yourself, not thinking about how do I get from point A to point B, but you're really thinking, how do I get him back? How do I get her back? How do I make them feel what I feel? So a huge, huge part is when you decide, I'm going to concentrate on me. And it doesn't mean sweep your anger under the rug. Doesn't mean forget about it. Doesn't mean pretend it, didn't happen. It does not. But it does mean take it, and like you said, Carolyn, you handle it. You handle the issues. You deal with it, but don't deal with it in a way where you just focus your time and your energy on that person. They've already taken so much from you. They've already done so much damage. Don't let them damage you anymore. So I think a huge part is concentrating on yourself. And with that, Carolyn, I want to ask you, how do you actually encourage individuals to see and then magnify the essence in themselves? Like, how do you get them to that point to even just see it and then want to take it and magnify it, make it something else?
Whew, wow. That's, once again, it's a specialized individual journey. I know it's like making, a cake or a recipe for something. You have different ingredients. So I would tell them to get to a place and space of, seeking out a therapist, go to counseling, like talk to someone who is going to help you navigate through your feelings, right? They're going to listen to you. They're not going to give you, tell you what to do, but they're just going to be a source and a guide for you. There's no different than going to the foot doctor if you're having issues with your foot, or the knee doctor. You're just going to a person who's going to help you navigate through these emotions. Also, find, once again, like I did, a group, like what, with your ministry, like a group of individuals who have like traumas, right? And that's because they can relate. You can relate to each other. You don't, it's not about trumping each other's trauma. It's
Mhm.
about understanding and relating and healing together within those traumas, right? And that'll allow you to have a different, you'll be able to observe and understand other individuals as well. I know that helped me have a different level of understanding for different people's traumas, because of, I was like, oh man, that's why they act like that. Man, that's why I act like that. Right? You start seeing yourself, and then he's like, because when you see yourself, you know yourself. And now when you know yourself, you can now understand what truly makes you tick. You understand what your triggers are. You understand the language. You understand. And that's the beginning of your healing. Knowing is power. So now you take those two different modalities, and now just start writing. Like, I'm not a writer, Callan. Yes, you are. Just start journaling something, right? Just write, just journal, just get your thoughts out, get your feelings out. You can burn it, throw it away. You don't have to keep it, but it needs to be released. It needs to be purged. Our bodies are not meant to keep anything in. Think about it.
Mhm.
You eat and it get expelled. Nothing stays in. Our body is made and designed to release in some way, shape, or form. Fluids, matter, and spirit. Nothing is supposed to stay in. If you get upset about something, you get emotional, and then you do what? You cry. You took it in, and now you have to cleanse it out, and you shed a tear. See, but
Mhm.
suck it up. Don't cry. Don't tell anybody what happened to you. We're holding on to stuff that we're not supposed to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
So release it. And those are some of the tools. Find a faith base, spiritual base, whatever that you can relate to with your soul. Like, it's a mod podge of things. It's not a one pill fix it thing, right? It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you find what works for you, and you find what feels right for you, and you understand and start to understand the temperament of where you're at, and that's how you can magnify your essence. Your essence is when you identify your core, who you are. It's time for it to be revealed. One of the things that I love, it's that I like this analogy. If any one of you have seen The Wiz, so that's the music version of The Wizard of Oz, with like Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and
Mm-hmm.
so there's this one part towards the end when in the sweatshop, and I think it was the Wicked Witch of the West or East, I don't remember, but she gets flushed down the loo, right? Because her throne is the loo.
Yeah.
Flushed down the loo, and then the sprinklers go off, and let's talk about cleansing, right? Water is cleansing, and then all her minions, all her workers, all look all cruddy and everything. It starts peeling off of them, and they start like coming out
Mm-hmm.
of their shells, and things are dropping, and then you see them moving and dancing, and they're like, in the song that they sing is, it's a brand new day. They're like, brand new day, because it's a brand new day, because now you've released all of the things. Knocked my juice over. You just release all, because the stuff that was on them, once again, it didn't belong to them. It belonged to the entity that was keeping them bound and making them do their work, making them do their dirty work. And now when they're gone and they're released, now you can release yourself from that, and now you're anew. Celebrate, dance, smile, be happy. When you really tap into your essence, now it's time to magnify that thing, babe. You got to magnify it. Magnify means to increase and enlarge. So once you identify your essence, now you have no choice but to magnify. You increase it. You enlarge it. Enlarge my territory.
Mm-hmm.
You're the territory. That's how you magnify it. And now it opens up the door to more yeses. It open up the door to more things. I just told you, I'm just a girl from Philly. We call it a John. It's a noun, person, place, and thing. Yeah.
It means everything.
It's
Yeah.
everything. I'm just this John that grew up in North Philadelphia from a single parent household, that was molested, that was on welfare, that had all those things. But God, because I made a choice. I made a choice, even I was doing and moving in the midst of my mess, because I still accomplished great things. But it didn't matter if my essence didn't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter.
Mhm.
It didn't. So
So
that's how you do it. You have to tap into you first. Once you tap into you and identify who you are and whose you are, then it's time to just shine. Just continue to shine. Continue to be a beacon, because somebody else needs what you got.
Awesome. That was perfect. So, Carolyn, so we know about April 23rd, but can you share with us some more of your future plans? What else you have going on?
Awesome. Yes. So, earlier this week, we just officially released Her Story 2, which is Together Overcoming Obstacles. You can also find that on Amazon if you go to, and I spell it because I just realized you have audio listeners. So Linktree, linktr.com// Carolyn Wilson. And my name is spelled CarolynWilson. And that's where you can find the automatic link that'll take you to Her Story 2. It'll take you to Him Story. It'll take you to Her Story anthology. It'll take you to Magnified Thoughts. That was the book that I wrote when I was healing, right? That was my healing book. And that's a good start for you. Magnify thoughts. My thoughts were written in ways to help you think of new thoughts for yourself. And then The Good Life, because that's my film. It's a 30-minute documentary. You can have a good life even after past trauma and abuse, because all it takes is a choice in order to make a change in your life. So all of those things you can find, like I said, on my link tree. We just launched it. We became Amazon #1 bestseller in multiple categories. Some of the categories were personal transformation and spirituality, women's personal development, memoirs. So we hit multiple different categories. And that on the 22nd will be for him story. We will be featured at in Philadelphia, Miller's Ale House on Urban Expression. There's a show that will be featured. Let the men share their story. On the 23rd, I'll be with you. On the 26th, I will be doing a conversation on sexual abuse with some of my authors will be joining me as well. Their registration will be on the link tree. It's not up there yet, but it will be. And I'm missing something, but it'll circle back eventually. Just go there, you'll find everything and all things about me coming up. And then that's where we're going to start touring. So we'll come to a city or country near you. Just bring us there and we'll come.
Awesome. So, Erin, do you have a final question or comment for Carolyn on tonight?
Oh, I really love your choice and the power is in that choice. And the more you peel back those layers, the more conscious you can become of what you're denying that you don't even know that you're denying, and so it's that compassionate peeling back and the baby steps that you say, that are going to help you to uncover that and really rise above. So thank you for all of your wisdom and all of your positive energy. I could feel transformation happening inside of me listening to you, and can feel that energetic power that you put out there today to all of the listeners. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you. And it's funny you say, because Magnify Thoughts, the title for that book is Magnify Thoughts, A Transformational Journey to Reveal Your Amazing You. And
Perfect.
that was the beginning of my journey. And then that, because I was able to now share and tell my story in such a way, like you said, to the healing and to be magnified and all of these things is what now allowed these other men and women to now be able to share theirs and her story. Because her story stands for healed, empowered, resilient. Because when you're healed from your past trauma and abuse, whatever it may be, then you become empowered. And so when you're empowered, you actually have a ownership, you know who you are, right? And then because of that, now you are resilient. You become resilient, build up this resiliency that will allow you to snap back, bounce back, get back, whatever, from everything that's going to come. Because life is going to continuously throw stuff at you. It is. That's just life, right? That's LIFE. That's what it is. And so that's her being her. When you're her, then even as a woman, you can be him, because now you're honorable, because this is how you show up in the world. You're intelligent, because now you're making conscious decisions. You're not reacting back here in the amygdala. Now we're going to get medical on you. The fight or flight, when you deal with trauma, is in back here, opposed to your frontal cortex, which is all your rational thinking. Right now, you get to invoke that and make a decision on whether you need to react or respond to some things. A lot of times, a response is not even required. That part, and then that allows you to be matured, because now you're matured in your feelings. And I heard Minister Tia said, because people are just still holding on and harboring onto this stuff that happened to them, and they're like want to retaliate, or they're just holding on to these things, and they're pouting and they're having temper tantrums. Well, that's not very mature, right? So you become him. So when you're her, you're him. When you're him, you're her. And then we have the women in her story too. And two is just because together we are overcoming all of these obstacles. So we're no longer a victim, but yet a victor. We're no longer, surviving. We are thriving. And whatever other word and narrative you want to place on it, that gives it a positive spin, and it gives you hope. because remember of Jeremiah 29:11, it's already written and it's already done. So
thank you so much. Thank you, Carolyn, for being here with us on tonight. Thank you, Aaron, for being with us. The Love Bay Aaron will be back with us. You did a beautiful job. Both of you did.
thank you.
Love Bay, if you want to catch up on previous episodes from our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Suffering in Silence TV. We thank you for joining Suffering in Silence with Minister Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay, we want you to always remember that we are rising out of the ashes together. Have a good evening.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
you.